Good evening, everybody. It's good to have you on tonight. So, I hope the weekend was a good one for you. It was a short weekend, of course, because we were here live on Saturday night. And we're back on a Monday. It's the 26th of February. It's a long February. We have 3 more days of it. On Friday is the 1st of March, and away we go. There's a lot. There's a lot happening. A lot happening in the world, a lot happening in life, and of course the all the normal things to be excited about as we flip pages on the calendar. I rather enjoy Easter more and more every year, and we're getting close to that. And tonight I've got a little bit of a treat for you guys, a call-in topic that I really hope excites people and gets them to partake, because there's a lot there that can be done with this one. We're going to be talking about brotherhood, fellowships, any kind of relationship you can rely on when the going gets tough and you've got to make the trek, the quest of a lifetime. Okay, we're going to talk about that. I was going to have Nick Shirley on tonight for a little bit of an update from the migrant crisis end of things. He has a very unique perspective, but he's actually traveling. He's en route right now to somewhere in the San Diego area because he's being called over to report on something pretty big. And he's been doing great things. You remember Nick, the young citizen journalist that joined us about a month ago or so. And since he was on with us, he was picked up for a spot with Jesse Waters on Fox, and he continues to get these really interesting interviews, the infuriating interviews with these illegal aliens that are coming in and just talking about how they're being pampered, how they're being subsidized, how long it's been going on, and what they're being given. Everything from the food, the shelter, the clothing, the insurance. I mean, everything that we bust our asses to try to get and still can't afford in many respects. But it's even more than that. Now we're getting into questions about, hey, who would you vote for? And it's all the obvious. Not going to bite the hand that feeds us for now because there's something to feed us with. But Nick is going to be on with us, I think, Thursday night for a short segment, and perhaps we'll be able to see what he's pursuing right now, where he's at, what he's doing, and that should be good. So I have a little bit of news to fill up the time that he was going to be on, and then we're going to open up the lines for some good stuff. I really want to talk about I want to dig into your guys' lives a little bit and learn a little bit. This will be a fun one. And then we have some great topics coming up soon. I just want to remind you guys to get to quitefrankly.tv and hit up the forum, because at the top of the forum, we've got 6 degrees of separation that's building right now. We got 9 responses already. Insane side quests. 17 responses. I even got this circulating on Twitter and elsewhere. This one I really can't wait for. This is another good one. That meme, when your dad picks you up from school instead of your mom and you knew that you were about to go on an insane side quest. So tell me about a time that your father, an uncle, or any wild card figure in your life showed up at school or anywhere else unexpected and took you on a random quest which became a core memory. So by all means, jump into that. That's going to be another wonderful night of talk. And I have a couple of follow-ups on Friday night show, talking about the greatest gifts we ever inherited. That was a really awesome one. Well, I have a couple of follow-ups on that too, so we'll get to that in due time. Thank you so much to my sponsors for being on with me tonight. Chief among them, Blue Monster Prep. It's another week of planning and trying to just mitigate all the things coming our way that we can see and that we're just sensing somewhere in the distance, behind the gloom of the distance. And thank you so much to Blue Monster Prep for being that rock for a lot of people who don't know where to start planning for the unexpected. Well, BlueMonsterPrep.com is a place where you can start planning for the unexpected. A little goes a long way. And that little bit of peace of mind really does a lot. Okay. How did you like the Saturday night show, by the way? John Ward in studio. We just released a behind-the-scenes picture on the, quite frankly, Instagram, along with a couple of clips that I've been able to churn out now. I've been working with some tools. Been working with some AI tools. And man, oh man. So we'll see what the output is like soon. Very, very soon. Because I was already swimming in content today that otherwise usually takes weeks to produce. So I'm looking forward to that. But I would love to hear what you guys and gals thought about Saturday night show. You can call in at any time tonight to just rattle that off, some thoughts about that. Because we were only able to take a couple of callers on Saturday. I wish we could have done more. But the conversation in the room was just so rich. You know, we hadn't seen John in so long. So I had to get the Exodus story. I had to get that on, and I think we got a good one in. All right, on to the grab bag we go. First one up is from Yahoo News. Zelensky says that 31,000 Ukrainian soldiers have been killed since Russia invaded. No. President Zelensky said on Sunday that 31,000 Ukrainians have been killed since Russia's full-scale invasion 2 years ago. It's not a full-scale invasion by any means. Full-scale invasion, there would be no Ukraine left. There would have been no Ukraine left about a year and a half ago. But of course, the act as if. Zelensky told a news conference in Kiev that he could not disclose the number of wounded because it would help Russian military planning. 31,000 Ukrainian troops have been killed this war, not 300,000, not 150,000. The President Putin is lying there. Oh, we didn't get that from President Putin. We're getting that from, you remember the leaker? We even had this confirmed by that leaker. You remember the young kid that they arrested up in New Hampshire? I think it was actually last April. It was around Palm Sunday last year that kid was arrested, and it pretty much outed that they have been lying about the entire thing from the beginning, about the chances of winning, about what's going on there, about the ratio of dead Ukrainians to dead Russians. So, I mean, this is just bad lying. This is just bad lying because his chief sponsors have already had their skirts blown up. Really bad lying. Ukraine has not put a number on its military losses since the end of 2022, when presidential aide Mikhailo Podolyak said 13,000 Ukrainian soldiers have been killed since the invasion. Oh, it's all nonsense. So this guy still has some kind of value because he's still alive, and I guess the cocaine continues to flow. Here's another one. Lord Jacob Rothschild is dead at 87. Financier, member of the Rothschild banking family, Lord Jacob Rothschild died at 87. The cause of death was not given in a statement from the family. Quote, "Our father Jacob was a towering presence in many people's lives." Yeah, seen or unseen. A superbly accomplished financier, a champion of the arts and culture, a devoted public servant, a passionate supporter of incest, of charitable causes, I should say. Charitable causes in Israel and Jewish culture. Well, there would be no Israel without the Rothschilds. A keen environmentalist and much-loved friend, father, and grandfather, the family said in the statement. The statement continued, he will be buried in accordance with Jewish custom in a small family ceremony, and there will be a memorial at a later date to celebrate his life. Lord Rothschild began his career at the family-owned N.M. Rothschild & Sons Bank in 1963. In 1980, he departed from the family bank to focus on Rothschild Investment Trust. This subsidiary, currently recognized as RIT Capital Partners PLC, ranks among the most prominent investment trusts in the UK. I mean, they were pretty much the bank out there for however long, if not still today. But what I thought was really interesting, because Just like with Henry Kissinger or any of those old timers, you say, oh, the witch is dead. No. In fact, I reached out to Leo Zagami just to ask him if he had anything published on this yet, because I would love to have slipped it in today or maybe on Thursday. Who knows? It still happened. But even he said, he got back to me and he said, well, the thing with people like Jacob Rothschild is that, there's always an heir that's picked out. None of these people as individuals leaving this earth, or at least that being the story, just leaving the public eye, is ever the end of whatever the operation is, be it legitimate or otherwise. So, but like I said, what I thought was rather interesting was in New York today, although this is not too crazy, but in New York today, there was a nice, tiny, cozy little march of communists in Brooklyn. Here they are. Disclose.tv had the media put out there. Where the hell is it? Here we go. Take it. Hold on a second. Hold on. Wait 1 second. Let me get this up. Boom, boom, and here we go. Did you hear that they screwed up the chant? Listen to this. These unwashed neckbeard losers in Brooklyn. Absolute losers. Take a listen to these malnourished freaks. The chant is very easy. There is only one solution: communist revolution. Now listen to this next roll call, or whatever the hell it is, this next round, this next verse, this next stanza.
There is only one solution.
They went right into communist revolution. Like, they don't even get the idea of, of call and response, a responsorial psalm. I mean, it's just incredible. These are people, it's so pathetic. It's so pathetic. These twerps. Look at these poser twerps. Oh, there you go. There you go. We actually have a fedora. We actually have a fedora and a scarf right there. Oh, it's the meme. The memes come to life. Look at that. My. So, anyway, any semi-conscious person would know. All they would need to know to start rethinking 20th century history would be watching these communist rallies, these comfy, cozy little rallies, unwashed, neckbeard losers who are just made comfortable aligning themselves with that same brand of Bolshevism that led to the murder of hundreds of millions of people. Ethnic cleansing galore would have made Hitler blush. Of course, it also inspired the ascendancy of people like Hitler. But that this is fine. This is okay. Nobody's going to bat an eye at this because it's not a Nazi. It's far worse than Nazis ever were. Far worse. But but like I said, the reason why I think it's kind of apropos is because Bolshevism was prepared, funded, and trained. They actually trained these thugs in the early 20th century on the streets of New York. Okay? That's exactly where this all was, because they had Rothschild-affiliated bankers like Jacob Schiff, Kuhn and Loeb. They were all out there training and funding the Bolsheviks on the streets of New York. And then they sent them off back into Europe with about $24 million worth of gold to go destroy Russia and kill a lot of innocent people and I don't know, tear apart and subvert the culture of many, many other traditional societies afterwards. And here we are. Here we are. So it's actually almost like a pre-funeral procession for Jacob Rothschild to have these unwashed losers out there in the street of New York. Family legacy kind of thing. Oh, and in election 24 news, Trump won Nikki Haley's home state of South Carolina by like 20 points, as if you thought it was going to go any other way. But leave it to the news media to say that 20-point win in a primary is a disaster for Trump. So that's just what it is. That's just he could win by 60. It's a disaster. It's a disaster. Why? This is a demographic collapse. So if you're following that story, then I'm sure that has been very, I don't know, kind of boring. So that'll push on for a little while longer, and then we can forget about the whole thing, hopefully. All right, let's get started, shall we? Because I want to start to set the table for you guys and gals to call in and to really take the show over. That's all I want. That's all I want tonight. We will be right back.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up.
Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life.
It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back.
Does anybody else want to stay?
Let's ride!
All right. Taking it easy now. Taking it easy. Coming in for a landing on a Monday night. That's right. I reviewed some of our threads that were open. The 6 degrees of separation I have not put, I didn't remind you guys about yet, but that's another one that's out there on the quitefrankly.tv forum. 6 degrees of separation. Are you related to anybody? Can you draw a direct line to a famous person or a person of prominence? Are you related to Lord Rothschild? Let me know about it. Do you have a president in your life? Do you have an actor, an actress, a famous brain surgeon, an inventor, a mobster, a serial killer, anything? I want to know about it. I loved last year, or 2 years ago when we did that, we learned about somebody had a pirate in the family. Down in the Gulf, somewhere around Louisiana. We have somebody out there who is related to a pirate. I forget what pirate it was, but that's pretty badass. Badass. That's that. All right, so here's what I have. A little bit of a follow-up on Friday night's show with the greatest gifts ever inherited. I guess before that, I should just say a reminder. This Friday, March 1st, we are going to be raffling off a few things. So anybody that sends in super chats to quitefranklysuperchat.com, because that's how we do our universal super chats, I'm giving away 3 separate prizes. The number 1 prize, the first one, is my copy of Lucifer's Hammer that we just read for book club in January. The second place prize is Matt's notes on the emergency alert system text messages that he would send out. So I asked back, I don't know, however many months ago, I said, if you had the control over the emergency text message system that you can send out a text message to the entire country, what would you send the entire country? That's another thing we should go back to. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. I think one of my favorite ones was, I think Matt at some point, somebody's just said, "I'm gay." Can you imagine getting a text message from the United States government and it just says, "I'm gay"? It would actually make perfect sense. But here's an example of one of Matt's national service alerts that he would send. Effective forthwithly, Donald Trump will be reinserted as president of thy United States. Former Vice President Biden shall be inserted into a house for thy feeble-minded. Thy. Number 2, he would send out a tsunami warning. Tsunami warning, entire eastern seaboard and thy Gulf of Mexico. Massive land whale, oceans itself causing the forthcoming disaster. Before oceaning itself, onlookers heard Stacey Abrams screaming something about a rigged election before jumping into the bay from a local pier. That's that. There's more. There's more over here. Military tribunals. Military tribunals to begin. So this is the second place prize. And then, of course, the third place prize is the Yale Journal of Biology and Medicine notes that Jay Gulanello had printed out. He has some writing in here, too. This is everything that he collected about George Washington's death. His medical care, the bleeding, how he pretty much was sapped of most of his blood. And that's what it is. So on Friday, I'm going to draw 3 names, just letting you know. So you have a much higher chance, 3 times higher chance of winning this time around. And yeah, there you have it. So how did you like the Saturday night show? You can call in or super chat about that. And then we have this. The Best Thing You Ever Inherited show was superb, in my opinion. And the violin. Everybody remember the violin caller? We had a caller whose family was, I think she said that they had family in Germany in the 20th century that were trying to come over here to the United States, and some of them were able to get approved and actually make the trek. Others were not allowed to come in. I don't know if it was during the war or what the hell was going on, but what they would do, she said, was they would send their belongings ahead of them. And if they got to the United States, they were reunited with them, and if they never got to the United States, that's it. The caller's family would just keep the stuff because there's nothing to do with it. Couldn't ship it back, whatever. One of the families from Germany that never was reunited with the stuff that they had sent ahead, they had sent ahead a violin that was created in, I think it was constructed in 1830. That's what the marking on the back said. And the violin maker was Giuseppe Dall'Aglio. I think that's how you say it. Anyway, the caller said that she had this thing appraised for $8,000. Well, Gilded and a few other audience, there was a few people in the Gilded and a couple other audience members out there who had gotten in touch with me after the show and said, I think that whoever gave her that appraisal was trying to swindle her out of a major piece of musical equipment. Because I was given appraisals by the audience that was no less than $80,000. And that the auction record for this particular violin maker was $102,522 in July of 2004 for a viola, not for a violin. So in 6 years, she's got a 200-year-old violin that's got some serious history attached to it, and we got to hear it sing. The dog didn't like it, but we got to hear it sing. So that was nice. Another thing I have for you is this. On the screen right here is the carrying case for our other caller, Jeremy. Or he wasn't a caller. He actually had his story added to the thread. Jeremy talked about a ventriloquist doll that his father had made and that he inherited. And his father made, I guess it was a likeness of himself, and he would, he would joke around with people, stewardesses, whatever, and it even had a detachable penis. There's no shot of the penis in this, don't worry. But this is the case, and I have a picture of the doll. There he is. There's Jeremy's father, or grandfather, I forget. There he is, brown suit, sitting up. Oh, it's got a pocket watch and everything. Well, this is superb. And look at those boots. So there you have it. there is just a little bit of a follow-up for you all, because those kinds of things, those stories, they need something to go along with it sometimes. But here's what I really want to talk about tonight. And it's time for you guys to sit around and really think and call in, because this is not going to fly without you. In fact, I'm going to put the hotline number. It's the Ride or Die hotline, 914-369-1236. What is this all about? The Ride or Die hotline. So I was watching Lord of the Rings, as you all know. I watched it for the first time in quite a few years, and I had it on just because I said, "What the hell?" I put the Fellowship on, and Aurora was wondering what I was watching, because I had put a couple of minutes on in the middle of one of her naps. I was just eating a little bit of lunch. I had a little bit of a break from all the writing for the show that night. She sat down with me, and she wanted to keep watching. She loved it. 3 years old. She's asking questions. The orcs didn't scare her. She's wondering what's wrong with them and all that stuff. And but I told her that they're just actors too, and all that stuff. They're like the little trolls that follow Maleficent around in Sleeping Beauty, stuff like that. They're kind of goofy, aren't they? Yeah, they're strange, she says. So I went and I actually went and I pulled up a YouTube video of one of the actors or so, one of the orc actors getting the makeup being put on, so she can see that these are, regular, good-looking, normal guys. Anyway, so she loved it, and she kept asking for more. And over the course of 3 or 4 days, we watched The Two Towers, and we finally, over this past weekend, finished Return of the King. And she watched everything. I mean, she'd take little breaks to run around and pretend that she had a ring. Then we had to get into sword fights. I have to try to take the ring away from her. Then she tries to take my wedding ring. She gets that off. I have to chase her. Then we have another sword fight. The sword fights were with wiffle ball bats. And I loved this last week of doing that with her, because a lot of those fights would happen outside in like the backyard too. Like if we would just take breaks, go outside, get some fresh air, I would grill our steaks or something like that. And a lot of our battles, her yelling at me, "You can't have the ring," stuff like that. That would all be on the ring cams and stuff like that. So when I would be laying in bed before I go to sleep, I would actually pull up my ring cam app, and I would go back through time and just watch us have a sword fight again. It was like I was watching a movie. And she's so into it, and she stabs me, takes the wiffle ball bat, and she slips it right between my my rib cage and my bicep. Then we went down. Oh, she's had a blast. Anyway, she doesn't understand all the nuances, but she understands a few things. She knew who the bad guys were, and she knew that the ring was making everybody crazy, and it had to be destroyed in the hot lava at Mount Doom. But the one thing that I really stressed throughout the whole thing, because she was asking about, what's going on here, the one thing I really stressed is friendship. These are the way that people sacrifice for each other. The friendships are incredible. The messages about friendship and brotherhood, and I mean, it's just fellowship in general, because there's a lot of really strong, amazing female heroes in this too. But still, especially the story, specifically Frodo and Sam, and I really gave her that to chew on, the whole idea of friendship and loyalty. So I said, this is going to be a perfect call. This is going to be a perfect call-in topic for tonight. I want to set this up with everybody, and I wanted to put this on you guys and gals. Who in your life, I'm putting the hotline up, and we're going for it, because it's going to be 2 parts, and you can take whatever part or both. Who in your life, who are the people that you know would make that trek with you to the end of the earth? No matter how tiring, dangerous, whatever the hell it is, they would not disappear in your time of need. You've got to go bring that ring into Mordor. You've got to go and brave it all. You can lose your life along the way, but it needs to be done. Who is your ride or die? It doesn't have to be one person, because obviously Frodo didn't have just one person, but he did have Sam above all. But who is that person that if you had to make that trek, who would it be? Now, it doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be spouses. And I just think about friends. I'm talking about friends, people that you knew. That person I can count on. Obviously, your wife or your husband. That's a bond in itself. But I'm focusing in on a little bit more friends, just friends. That's what I'd like to start off with. And then the other thing is, have you had that quest? What is that? Did you actually need to call in that favor? Did you go on that kind of a quest where you had to do something extraordinary, dangerous, whatever the hell it was, but it was timely and you had no choice, it had to be done? What the hell was it if you had that thing happen? So I want you to call in about this because I think it's going to be something worth remembering. That's 914-369-1236, 914-369-1236. That's where we're going tonight. I know that there's a lot in that audience, and it's going to be really dependent upon you to bring that up. Because other than that, I have other stories. I have stories that I have ready to bring up as well. Stories that are kind of on the opposite side of brotherhood. Some really weird attempts to actually sabotage a brother. I have that one over here too. Because, of course, sabotage and betrayal can be a part of all those stories and actually bring a little bit more stress to the situation. But we'll do that in a little bit because we have our people calling in right now. 541, you're on the air. You're on the Ride or Die hotline. What do you got for us?
What I got for you is my best friend David, who I've been friends with since 95. Obviously, Wes would ride and die. But my best friend David has shown up at every car accident that I've had. He helped me through shoulder replacement surgery, 2 shoulders, 2 hips. And I know that he would be the guy that would ride or die. He is like the guy that I can count on. I can phone my best friend David and just go, help. And he's there. We have traveled extensively throughout Europe. He's my best friend, and other than Wes, the guy that I could count on, definitely.
That's incredible. So, and this is one of those friendships where even if you don't see each other for a little while, it doesn't matter. There is just the bat signal goes up, and it's like there was never a pause.
Oh, never. I mean, we dated back in 95, but it didn't work out, so we just became best friends, and we've been best friends ever since. And he's best friends with Wes, and is just the guy. I mean, I went out with this other guy for a while after I went out with David, and we were at this resort, and this other guy that was a pain in the ass, to put it lightly, happened to show up there, and David protected me from him. I mean, he's just the guy.
Well, that's great. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much for sharing about David tonight. I like hearing about that.
Okay.
And
All right. Thanks, Frank.
You got it. You got it. Thank you for kicking this one off. That's what I want to hear about. I want to hear the most outrageous stories. We've got a good amount of people watching, so I know that the stories are out there. It's just a matter of someone picking up the phone and calling it in. That is literally it. Okay. For me, it's definitely, I know my brother Anthony would be there no matter what. I know that he would definitely be there. I would definitely be there for him no matter what. But I've got that kind of loyalty for a lot of people in my life too. So I don't know how it is. There's a few others too. Pretty sure Matt would be there. Pretty sure Mike would be there. Not counting, of course, Lauren or the baby. The baby would be there. The baby. She's like 5 feet tall now. It's incredible. Ride or Die hotline is 914-369-1236. And then, of course, the all-purpose hotline is 914-200-0269. If you have a very special Jacob Rothschild memory that you like to share, that is, of course, completely okay tonight. It's 7:33. That is what is setting the table. When we come back, I will be here taking your calls. Don't go anywhere.
They call him Samurai. He speaks fluent Japanese.
Are you Fujiyama?
What does katana mean?
It means Japanese sword.
Howdy, friend. You looking for a message board? Go to quitefrankly.tv and enter the forum. Engage with official show topic threads or start your own thread. Get signed up. It's that easy. And it's not Reddit, so don't sweat it. For the forum and then so much more, it's quitefrankly.tv. Yeehaw.
Okay, let's take another call. Here we go. 937, you're on the air. Go right ahead. Hey,
Hello?
Hello, 937.
Yes. Am I on?
Oh, yes, you're on with me. Who's this?
My name is Nikki.
Welcome, Nikki.
First time caller. Thank you. My ride or die is definitely my sister Laura. We grew up together so close. We're both one of 11 kids, obviously.
Wow.
So you had to pick somebody that you wanted to be a friend with, and then did everything together.
Well, I have to imagine this usually comes up whenever I talk to somebody that comes from such a large household. Do you have some siblings that are just kind of like feel like distant cousins to you, and you never really got to know, or
No, actually,
you know them all?
Actually, not at all.
Really?
We get together. The siblings and I, we get together almost every weekend. We all live within like 20 minutes of each other.
That's
Some of
tremendous.
us are 5 minutes apart.
That's awesome.
Very close family. Yeah, and our parents are still alive. My dad's 90 and my mom is 87.
That is so awesome. Now, I'm going to let you get back to your story, of course, but I'm just trying to think about all the attention that I have had reserved solely for my one brother, split among 9 others. And that
It
is...
multiplies, Frank. It multiplies.
I know. I'm just trying to put myself in your shoes for a moment. That's just really fascinating, and that sounds great. Okay, I'm sorry. So you and your sister, that's your ride or die. Tell me about your Lord of the Rings quest with her.
Well, it wasn't exactly a quest. Well, we had lots of quests. Well, one time I had to go with her because she was really interested in this guy who ended up being her husband. And she said, Nikki, you have to come with me. Go with me with him because I don't want to ride alone with him and his friend. So I don't know what kind of car this was, but I had to basically sit on the stick shift the whole way there and back. So that's the kind of love I have for her.
That's
so that worked out for her, though.
yeah. At least you had that. At least you had that. Oh man.
So that was about a ride or die situation. No, but the one time I can really remember that I didn't even have to talk. One of my little girls had an accident where something fell on her and she started getting a big bump. Kind of reminded me when that happened to Aurora. And it freaked me out because it was not only she had a bump coming out of her forehead and the back of her head at the same time. And it was a TV that actually fell on her.
Jeez.
So I didn't even, it was pretty bad, but she's fine. But I picked the phone, dialed Laura's number, and I just said, I'm here right now. She said, I'll be right there. Like it wasn't, I didn't even have to explain a thing.
That's all that matters.
Like, I'll be right there.
Yeah, there's no sales pitch. There's no sales pitch. It's just the way it is. And so that's one. Thank you so much for calling. And we have to do a big family call-in night one night. And I want to talk to people from the biggest families that we have in the audience. Thank you so much for this.
Yep, you're welcome.
All right, take care. Let's go. Ride or die. 216. You're on the air. Go ahead.
I got kind of a super messed up story, but some of the people that used to do drugs, It's a long time ago, 20 years ago. I got a friend that once we started either doing cocaine, smoking it, snorting it, he was ride or die. We would go until the end. like until the end. No matter what happens, he would be down.
But was he only down under the influence though?
Well, no, he wasn't. But if we were on that, it was like a mission set. We were going to get high, and there was nothing that could stop us. Nothing there was no hurdle, there was no distance, there was nothing. It was go time, and he would ride or die.
Yeah,
I hope he's listening to this because he might remember these days.
Now let me ask you this, because the way you're talking right now, it sounds like the mission was to get high. So let's.
Yes.
Okay, so I was going to say, was there ever a time where you're under the influence, but then you go off and you're doing something bigger than the drugs, or was it just about in that state? What?
There was one point where he had left, and it was 2 or 3 days later, and I was still going crazy. I had ran over a dope dealer's car with my truck, and he helped me hide my truck in his backyard, hid me from the police who were looking for me because I had a hit and run on 2 vehicles. This was a long time ago. I've been sober for 25 years. This was a long time ago, so I know he's down to ride or die. And I want to say his last name in case he's listening, but this is Damien, John B. If you're out there, you know what I'm talking about.
So, real quick, because I know that this was 2 lifetimes ago. But whatever happened with the hit and run? How did that you get all that behind you?
I actually had the cops call my cell phone. I had ran over the dope dealer's car. I hit a semi truck on the way out.
So then you did what?
I lied to the cops. I had a clean record other than this stupid thing right here. So I got away with the lie, and it rolled out. I had to pay some fines for hit and run and all that kind of stuff, but I got away with it. And after that, I sobered up, ended up getting married. I got 2 kids. I've been straight ever since, but it was pretty fucking crazy.
That is all right. Well, listen, the happy story is that you got to live to tell about it, and everything is behind you now, and that's wonderful. Thank you so much for that, my man.
Yes, sir. Have a good day.
All right.
Bye.
And the best thing that he can do is that he can just tell his friend, hey, listen to the show at this time. I'm talking about you. Unless they both watch the show, which is possible. 814, you're on the air. You got to ride or die. Tell us about the fellowships and tell us about the brotherhoods of life.
Hey, Frank, it's Deacon.
Oh, Deacon, welcome back to the show.
Hey, I do got to ride or die for you.
Everybody, this is Deacon from Saturday Night with John Ward and the Mezzanine. It's so great to have you on, man, and I had a great time on the weekend.
Oh, so did I. Absolute blast. We talked about it the whole way home, man. Thank you so much. You guys are great.
Oh, well, go ahead. I want to hear your story.
All right, well, I met this guy about 10 years ago when my late wife, her sister, married a guy. And we started hanging out, and when Ken and I get together, it is an absolute... It's brotherhood, and when I say brotherhood in the most sense it can be, that's what it is between us. We have laughed together, we've cried together, and I know that, I guess you could say our little quest was that he stayed by my side as I had to go through my wife dying. And he was my rock at that point in time. And I'm sorry to lose it here a little bit, but anyhow, to this day, he knows I have his back, and I know that he's got my back. And where I come from, there's a saying. He's the only guy right now I have that I can trust with my money, my life, and my wife. And where I come from, that's saying a lot, man. And I mean a lot.
That's one. I'm happy you got through, and I'm happy you shared that. That's a wonderful testament right there.
Thanks, man. Thanks. But yeah, he was a former Army Ranger. He suffers from PSTD. And when we go to hunting camp, it's him and I, just him and I. And we sit there and we talk about things. And what we talk about, there's one rule between us. What we say at camp stays at camp. And Ken and I have had many long, deep, deep talks in the evening sitting down at camp around the fire. And he's he's a damn good man, and I just wanted to get that out there, that, you know, there are people that has your back, and when they have your back, you got to make sure you got your back, and that's loyalty right there.
Absolutely it is. And thanks again for calling in. I hope it's the first of many times, my man.
All right, man. I'll talk to you soon. You guys enjoy and have a good show. I'll be watching.
All right, there you go. There's the Deacon. There's the Deacon from the Mezzanine on the John Ward channel. Had a really, really great time meeting him and his lady, and it's very nice. There's something to be said about that. Now, ladies, of course, we've already had a couple call in and talk about their go-tos. Sometimes it's their sister. Sometimes it's a boyfriend. It doesn't matter. There's something about those friendships, and many of the people in this audience who are married consider their wife or husband a best friend as well as a confidant, romantic partner, life soulmate. But there is just something about, especially for guys, because I can just speak from that perspective. You got to get together with the guys. You have to get together with the guys. Ladies, I'm sure. I have to imagine some of that is true. I can't speak from it, but is it the same way with, I got to get together with the girls? I haven't seen them in a while. It doesn't have to be, sex specific, I guess, but there's something about that, especially for guys. It's every once in a while you just need it. You just need it, and that's one hell of a feeling, knowing that you've got someone to rely on, or a group of people to rely on. You have a core of friends that is just, that's worth millions and billions of dollars, especially today, because there's something I got to talk about in the second half of the show. There was an article that I saw from studyfinds.org, and the headline was as follows: Is everybody angry? Toxic outrage culture consuming society like never before. Now, we had talked about burnout not too long ago and all that stuff, but outrage culture, it's pervasive in the digital age. It refers to our collective tendency to react, often with intense negativity, to developments around us. My Lenten sacrifice was all about trying to curb this shit. I can't tell you how many things I have seen. I'm just like, nope, I'm clicking away. It doesn't make the problem go away, but then again, I knew the problem was there already. And giving a half hour of my life to it, because it's not just a tweet, it's finding the right thing to say, and then it's just, it didn't feel any better getting it out there, and then you're getting notifications from people who agree or disagree. It just takes a lot out of you. It is a vampiric exchange. It led me to a couple other things that I want to discuss in the second half about the real ring of power. Since Lord of the Rings is kind of the underlying theme, or the vessel through which I'm delivering this theme tonight, and that is social media. I think it is the real ring of power. That's because there's a chase going on. There's a chase. Everybody's chasing a high. It's at the center of it. Obviously, it can't just be about the technology. It's about some kind of a behavioral addiction beyond it all. But I want to talk to you about that in the second half. How to destroy the ring of power. Because I know that there's many rings, but there's at least one that needs to be contended with right off the bat. 860, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah.
Who's this?
Sam.
Who's this?
Sam from Hartford.
Oh, what's going on, Sam? Welcome to the show.
Thanks. I got a crazy story.
Okay, go ahead.
Ready?
Yep.
I quit my job in the 90s. I told my new job, I says, I need 3 weeks and I'll start. They said, all right. I put $2,000 in my pocket. I drove to Grand Canyon on 40. Went down to Route 10, Interstate 10, and I came back that way. I'm in Andalusia, Alabama. I got off the highway for a while. Come to a light, give it the gas, car dies. I says, oh, felt like the timing chain. Distributor stopped spinning, whatever. Car pulls up behind me. I'm from Connecticut. I don't know anybody in Alabama. Car pulls up behind me. They said, we seen your Connecticut plates. Do you need help? I said, Mama, like the lady says, would you like a highball? I'm like, geez, my grandparents make highballs. I said, where you from? I said, well, I'm from Newington, Connecticut. I says, really? My grandparents are from Newington, Connecticut. And I says, Bill and Ann. And they go, Ginsanti? My dead grandparents' best friends found me on the side of the road in Alabama broken down. My mother says, your grandparents are looking out for you. I couldn't believe it.
And I have to imagine they rendered much needed aid.
I couldn't believe it. I'm like my dead grandparents' best friends. How does this happen, you know?
That adds such that is such a mystical new layer to this story, because it's a ride or die situation from beyond this life. You know, obviously there's the mathematical probability of you running into anybody just from Connecticut out there, but for it to be your grandparents' best friends in a time of need, that is truly incredible.
It is. I have weird things like that happening all the time. You know, it's just strange. Thought I would share that with you.
I'm glad that you did, Sam.
And by the way, my grandfather had 8 brothers. They had their own baseball team in Hartford, the Ginsanti brothers.
That they were all, how old was the youngest and how old was the oldest? You know how long they were all separated? Because obviously,
that's my mother's father. So my grandfather, they died in the 90s too.
I'm just saying because it's
I
one.
don't know. I mean,
It's
they were
one.
probably playing ball in the 40s. Evidently, one of the brothers was a scout for the Dodgers, and he's got a little baseball team a little baseball field named after him in South Windsor. You know.
Well, what I think about is
I've got a couple cousins. They played in the minors. You know.
Gotcha. I'm just thinking about
One went on
eight
to
brothers that are doing their thing.
Ball.
Gotcha. I hear we're talking over each other a little bit. It's okay. But I'm just thinking about, and thank you for the call, 8 brothers that are on the same team. You know, if one is 18, I mean, the youngest had to be about 10, 11, or it could be really spaced out. How old was the oldest? How young was the youngest when they were all playing on the same team? But yeah, that's amazing to be able to pump out your own baseball team right there in the house. That's great. I wish I had a couple more people to play catch with. I haven't had a real game of catch in years. That was the best thing about coaching Little League for 16 years. The more advanced players on the team, especially the ones that I was really, teaching the pitch, teaching the catch, so that you have to have the most amount of skill right there. I was having catches all throughout the week. It felt great. Arm was nice and loose. Man, I would have to take it real easy right now. My elbow would probably crack like a knuckle. It would be big. A big crack, no doubt. All right, 914-369-1236. While we're waiting for this first hour to end, listen to this. You want to talk about ride or die? This is not it. Here's a headline from the New York Post today. Hardcore singer accused of dosing bandmate with estrogen. So hardcore is a genre of music. Dosing bandmate with estrogen in an attempt to steal his fiancée. What? That's not very brotherly. A small-time hardcore band has shot to viral fame over a bizarre gender-bending tale, one that involves a singer allegedly dosing his bandmate with estrogen in an effort to steal his fiancée. The band, Lorona, shared the story on its Instagram page, claiming that the vocalist Diego attempted to force a transition on his attempted to force a transition on his supposed pal by giving him pre-workout drinks laced with the female hormone. The vocalist's goal, according to the post, was to make himself look more manly compared to his love rival so Diego could swoop in. The band's post called it a stupid caveman mindset that makes zero sense. The vocalist confessed to the bizarre act during a drinking binge, then admitted it again via text message, the band claimed. I'm just going to read I'm going to read it right here. Take a listen to this. We have decided to part ways with our vocalist Diego due to the admission of a very disturbing and concerning behavior toward one of our band members and their partner. He has admitted to being obsessed with said partner and has been attempting to sabotage the relationship by cutting pre-workout. The pre-workout he frequently gifts from his job with high amounts of estrogen in them. He's been attempting to force a transition onto him for the last 5 months in hopes that it would give him an opportunity to swoop in once he looks stronger and more manly in comparison. It's not the worst idea. It's not the worst idea. I mean, the U.S. government thought about it. What do you think the whole gay frogs atrazine thing, the gay bomb, was all about? They're wondering how do they make the Cubans more effeminate? How do we beat people, without having to go to war with them by just sapping the manliness out of a country? I mean, if the United States government was considering doing shit like this, it's not so crazy for Diego to do it to his bassist. It was probably a bassist. No doubt about it, actually. Let's see. He's been attempting to force a transition on him for the past 5 months in hopes that it would give him blah, blah, blah. Stupid caveman mindset that makes zero sense. This tampering has caused confusion and thousands of dollars in medical bills in the past months trying to figure out what was wrong. We would not have known about this unless Diego had gotten way too intoxicated and outed himself, they should have said, and then stated an admission to all of us via text. There are many more disgusting details that have been left out of this for sake of privacy and general censorship. Well, I want to know them. As for Diego's response, it cannot be further from the truth on the supplement side of things. The only sealed products he would provide were proteins, but the other products were always unsealed because they were tossed at his job if they wouldn't sell it, hence why it was free. He must have worked at like a GNC or a vitamin shop or something, which is also typical of bands. Let's see here, especially if it's hardcore bands, because they're just, everybody has to be working out. They have to be the burliest they can be. I'm going to be seeing an endocrinologist over the next few months to track my hormonal fluctuations to see if my estrogen levels are extremely heightened and go back to normal over time. Oh, wait, is it him? I've had physical changes from the hormones besides stomach ulcers, weight loss, and muscle fatigue that I will not get into, as well as notable mental changes. Oh, he's definitely got the tits. He's definitely got the puffy nipples. What do they call it? Gyno, I forget what it's called. He's probably, why are my nipples so puffy? I'll also be getting the last batch of pre-workout he gave me tested for estrogen. I have about 2 to 3 cups of it left. He will not pass off what he admitted to as a joke or confusion, even in his state of drunkenness. What he did is disgusting and has had an immense negative effect on my life. So it's him. Yeah. Because over here on the top it says, we decided to part ways with our vocalist Diego due to an admission of very disturbing concerning behavior toward one of our band members. And then the second one is, this is all in notes over here. I'm going to have to listen to Lerona. Hold on. I'm going to have to find this over the break. That's not a ride or die. That's not a ride or die. Anybody who's going to try to pump you up full of estrogen so they can steal your woman. That's weird. That's very strange. Hopefully that can be reversed. You never know. All right, it's 7:58, ladies and gentlemen. When we come back, we're taking some more of your calls. These stories of friendship, the people who you know would be there no matter what when you had to go. I'm not talking about just, hey, you want to get together for a cigar. I'm talking about you've got to take the ring into Mordor. You've got to take the ring to Mount Doom. Who's going? Because we may not come back. That's what I'm talking about. More of that in the second half. Please join us on quitefrankly.tv, on pilled.net. There's plenty of new things on pilled.net. I got to get out a little bit of an update there. But please, those links have been put in the description of this episode. No matter where you're watching it, I've tweeted it all out as well. And, for ease, and you can just go right over to quitefrankly.tv right now, and we will see you for the rest of the show. Remember, tomorrow night, no show, because we're going to be ripping apart that room over there as the upgrades continue to sweep through the entire facility, and we will be back on Wednesday. But we still have another hour to do, and I really hope that you are in tow, so don't go anywhere.
The rest of the show is available exclusively at pilled.net. Follow the link in the description of the episode, get signed up, it's that easy. Or head on over to quitefrankly.tv, just press play. No paywalls, no censorship, no strings attached. So head on over, quitefrankly.tv, powered by Foxhole, and pilled.net.
It's intermission time, folks. Time out to press the like button. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome to intermission.
We'll be right back.
Yeah, intermission. Yeah, intermission.
Now entering, quite frankly.
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 Quite frankly. Quite frankly.
Quite frankly. Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
We all support quite frankly.
Not quite.
Quite frankly.
Let's go, Brandon. Quite frankly, in Roma, Italia.
Quite frankly. You're going on Frank's show tonight?
I want to get a Coke. Can I get a Coke?
So everybody watch, quite frankly, with Frank.